Hello everybody, welcome to my second ever stream here in Sea of Thieves. Hello Rose, hello Guppy, hello everyone who's going to be filtering in, I presume, here in the next few minutes. Today I was thinking that we would poke around a little bit with the Reaper's Bones, who is kind of the steal all the things faction in Sea of Thieves. So we're going to be poking around with that a little bit, exploring, maybe fighting some folks, getting our feet under us with a brand new character in the game. Also exploring, of course, and talking about pirate history and technology and all kinds of other cool stuff. So, yeah, welcome. This right here is one of the more unique ports in Sea of Thieves. This is called Port Merrick. So, it used to be my favorite outpost in the game called Golden Sands, before an in-game story event destroyed the old outpost and created something new instead. They rebuilt this cute little port on top of it. It's way too big for what it is, especially given that in this game you can only have 16 people in a server. But it's really cool, and it's got lots of neat places to explore. It also has a functioning lighthouse, which is really neat. You don't see that much in naval games. But yeah, I'll give you a little tour of this just to kind of like start off as people are filing in. So this is kind of one of the two unofficial docks that are set up. Unfortunately, you can't use these to moor up, but you can bring like a boat over and use a harpoon to kind of pull yourself up and in. There's a lighthouse, of course, which makes it easy to find. And then as you come across the bridge here from sort of the docking part of the town, you get into sort of the downtown stores and shops and stuff. Hi, Robin. Yes, Guppy is here, and I'm so excited. Guppy has run some really great streams in the past, especially the Yoshi's Island stream, which I still remember super fondly. But yeah, so this right here is sort of the Pirate Emporium. This is my least favorite shop. It makes me very annoyed because every Pirate Emporium has the best ambience and the best art, but it's for cash shop stuff. It also has like changing displays and things. Yeah, no worries. I'm super glad you're here, and I miss your Yoshi streams. They were really funny. But yeah, so the Pirates Emporium, they look really cool. Like there's areas up top where they have stuff stored. It's kind of implied that you can get up there, but you can't. The stuff like rotates depending on the month. They'll have different like ship sets and things advertised. They've got cute little things to look at and little pets and things. But it's all cash shop stuff, so boo. Let's see, Guppy says, I've been considering starting up again, but I need to re-rig my model. And ugh, I'm always so busy with Blender and Unity now. Yeah. I can imagine your models look really cool too. You had the cutest little bear rig. It was great. Yeah, if you ever do decide to start up again, let me know. It'd be really neat to watch you do some stuff. But yeah, so across from the Pirates Emporium, they got the Captain's Head, which is the tavern at Port Merrick, which is also really cool and detailed, also really laggy. Hopefully it's not too bad. I've tried to make some changes since last time I was streaming to improve the bitrate and hopefully not make things chug too badly. But it's got all the makings of an open mic night, but God help you if you try to get all the pirates on a Sea of Thieves server to stop fighting long enough to come to an open mic night. That could actually be like really fun as a project. Also, I've just realized I am broadcasting in the general game, so I should probably fix that, because I don't want to stream to the entire Sea of Thieves. So, pardon me a moment while I get this tweaked a little bit. So push to talk is toggle, and then for inputs, keyboard and mouse. But yeah, so this particular one, like I've only ever come here like with a single crew. I've never seen more than one crew here without shots being fired, which is a bit of a shame. Like you find a lot of friendly people in Sea of Thieves. But generally speaking, it's in the name. It's a game about stealing things from other people. So that tends to be the prevailing sentiment. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Pirate chat, quest radial, push to talk. There we go. Change that. That is much more suitable to my muscle memory. Oops. There we go. Yay. Alright. That should fix that a little bit. And now I'm no longer talking everywhere at once. But yeah, so they've got the open mic night set up. There's a super cozy fire. A cute little Athena's Fortune corner for super high-ranking pirates. A great little bar with a cool bartender. And then if you go up top, there's actually places where you can just kind of hang out. There's lots of spots you can sit. You can actually go out onto the balcony and like look out at the water and out at the shops and things. And if you go up towards the top, there's all this open space. The cannons on these actually work as well, which can be very funny if you bring your own cannonballs. You can kind of fortify the tavern and actually weaponize it if people are giving you a hard time, which I've seen done once before. And it was really cool. I don't think you can get up here. I think that's been blocked off. As far as I know, there's no way to get up to the tippy top. But yeah, Port Merrick, it's pretty cool. It's one of my favorites. You can always just jump off. It's like that. Yeah, then downtown they've got the usual like equipment and clothes shops and things like that, kind of like set up around the area. They've got a spot for you to take a nap if you want to. Little gardens and hidey holes. But the business end of everything is over on this part of town where they've got the wharf area. So you've got your usual trading company emissaries here. So you've got Order of Souls. There's gold hoarders around here somewhere. Underneath they've got the Reaper's Bones hidden. And then over here is kind of the business part of things, where they've got where your ship spawns. So this right here is our little ship. This is a chartered ship. We don't own this ship. That's just the one we're going to be using for today. But it's right next to the Merchants Alliance. So these are the folks who do sort of the trading stuff. You can actually trade things and Sea of Thieves between islands, or between outposts rather, and make a pretty good amount of money if you like the sailing and you don't mind just like not really doing much else. Because the overhead for the commodity trading is a little high, so it's tricky to risk it. But yes, that's trading emissary. And then over here you've got your shipwright. And another great little detail that I enjoy about this, you got your shipwright, you've also got a dry dock, which is really cool because it sort of implies, hey Seth, how are you today? Gilded Phoenix. Oh, the Gilded Phoenix sales. So those are sales you get for streaming Sea of Thieves, I found out the other day. Thanks to somebody else. But yeah, so Port Merrick is neat because it's got the only dry dock in the Sea of Thieves. So you can come down in here, actually. And it's kind of implied that this is where they put boats together. This is where they build them. And then when you're done, you knock out this wall here and flood it and take your boat out. And then you put the wall back up and then you bring all the water out, pump it all out, and start your next boat. So that part's really cool. But the downside to this area, as neat as it is that it's incredibly laggy all of the time. At least compared to the rest of the game for me personally. But yeah, so what I was thinking today is I want to try and sail the Reaper's Bones, who are going to be the Steal All the Things faction. They give you extra bonuses actually. If you manage to take loot off of somebody's ship and put it onto your own and then sell it to them. So just to get started, I'm going to buy us a storage chest.
Be quick, time's precious. Go, go, go.
Let's see here. Merchant shop, company shop. So in the company shop, you can buy some of the cosmetics and things from them once you've gotten enough rank. You can buy the commodities here if you want to trade some of these things, but you have to be their emissary, flying their emissary flag in order to do that. And then here in resources, they've got a section for storage and fruit and wood and bait and all that good stuff. So the one we want right now is going to be the storage crate. So with the storage crate, once you pick it up, you can use the storage crate to sort of hoover all of the things out of any barrel that has stuff in it. So like right now, in here we've got cannonballs, we've got pomegranates, we've got boards. I pick up my storage crate and I hit take, just like that. Now all that stuff is in my storage crate. So yeah, we're going to use this to go to Seafort, which is sort of an early game dungeon sort of thing in Sea of Thieves. And take a shot at getting stocked up for a voyage and hopefully get into a fight. Yeah, so early game in Sea of Thieves is a little bit weird. You start with some supplies. Every time you load up the ship, but the ship itself is kind of different. There's a lot of features that you can only access if you actually own the ship, what they call a captaincy ship. So you have to deal with manually running cargo in and out and all that kind of stuff for a little while until you get the 250 grand necessary to actually get a ship of your own. So what we're looking for here, we're here at Port Merrick, which is here on the western side of the map. These are called the Shores of Plenty, this sort of area right here. It's very friendly, all of the encounters are a little easier. It's pretty laid back for the most part. All the ocean chunks are shallower, so you can kind of access stuff a little easier. There's a lot of cool islands around here, so like there's Crescent Isle, which is always a really nice one. It's another outpost up north. And this is the one I was talking about last time I was streaming, Smuggler's Bay, what I call Noob Trap Bay. So this is the one we saw on the other chunk of map when we were still doing Maiden Voyage, where it's got the cool raised area and the two little arms, and then it's got a stone arch that you can sail underneath and into. It's really easy to get trapped in here. It's very dangerous. Do not recommend. But what we're interested in right now is this right here, Imperial Crown Fortress. So these fortresses are set up as sort of remnants of the past, of like previous attempts to, I guess, colonize the Sea of Thieves would be the best way to put it. And now they're haunted by like ghosts and phantoms. And if you go, you can raid the treasury as long as you're willing to beat up all of the phantoms. But yeah, I'll get the ship ready to sail here. We'll raise anchor. What I like to do is put out all my lights, because that makes you a little less visible. And then these side windows here on the boat itself can close. And that will just hide that light a little bit. So that's not quite as visible, but we can still use it for viewing voyages and viewing the map a little bit. So judging from our current location here at Port Merrick, we're going to be sailing west-southwest-ish in order to get to the fortress. We're going to be looking for like a green glow on the horizon. So we'll get a little half sail going in order to get moving. And we'll turn to port and start making our way out to sea. But yeah, for folks who don't know, port is left, starboard is right. I get them mixed up a little bit myself, but I like to use them. Mostly because it is a sailing game. But yeah, I was talking to Rose a little bit before the stream started. There was a comment on Tuesday about wanting to like just eat all of the things on the island, especially the way the vegetation looks and all that stuff. How cool it would be to have a video game where you eat all the things. And it reminded me on Wednesday of a very central figure in sort of the historical record of piracy named William Dampier, who was sort of a foundational naturalist during the age of sail and like the early golden age of piracy. He sailed with a number of buccaneers and very famous pirates, but he was also noted for keeping extremely detailed notes of all the sort of like animals and plants. Yes, real life piracy, real life guy. But like he was noteworthy for, or known for keeping very detailed notes about different creatures that he encountered. He created a device for like peering into the water while you sail in order to see like the fish and things that were living in the water around the boat. And he also kept a very detailed autobiography, which is one of the better records, better verifiable records, I should say, of the history of that era, sailing in that era, but also of like piracy in general. Very interesting character, very weird sort of person by the standards of the era. But yeah, going up top here, that right there is what we're looking for, is that big green glowy thing there in the middle of the ocean. Very weird in the sense that he wrote things down. So generally speaking, when people were writing stuff down, it would be very personal in nature. So we have a lot of journals of sailors, like individual people who were involved in, voyages and things like that. But it was very, very narrow in its scope. They wouldn't often write about what was going on with other people. It was more about what was going on with them individually, which is great for a historical record, but is somewhat difficult to actually verify when it comes to certain details. And a lot of people did just make stuff up in order to protect themselves and avoid prosecution and all the things that come with having a dangerous and or illegal pastime as your main means of making a living. Whereas William Dampier, he got enough fame and was in a time period where privateers and buccaneers were useful enough to the power structures that were in place that he could get away with things like writing an autobiography and keeping detailed records and notes. He was also fairly well off. He had a good amount of money. He could get away with being a little weird and being a little illegal. It's very easy to do, regardless of time period, if you have enough money. Some things do not change. Let's see here. Yeah, I've read bits and pieces of his autobiography. I haven't read it in whole. I still mean to one of these days. Let's see. So what we're looking for here is going to be like a sluice gate, a gate that comes down to the water. Then we'll throw anchor just to get us stopped. No. Bad. So that was just to stop us. We'll make sure our sail is up there, which it seems to be. Then we're going to raise the anchor again because if we get attacked, we want to be able to move as quickly as possible. So that way we can just set it up and not have to worry later on if someone decides to jump us. We just drop sail and go. Turn a little bit to port here, get leveled out. Alright. And then we go onto the fort. See, all these barrels have supplies, which you're going to want a little bit later on. But more importantly, what we're looking for right now, there are two keys to seaports. One of them is going to be to a small storage closet up the top of the fort. The other one belongs to the captain of the fort, who won't show up for a little while. But while we're fighting these guys, what we want to do is also sort of look through. We want to look through all of the sort of like crates and boxes and things like that as we go, on the hopes that we can find that storage key and maybe get it unlocked and start getting the things down before the captain shows up. And if we could do that, that'll save us a little bit of time. Also, these little gold bags are nice little bonuses, especially since we don't have much money. Also, I don't think I brought enough food. There we go. We might have to raid some of these little containers. But yeah, please let me know. Please let me know how the stream quality is. I adjusted the bitrate, made a few changes. I tried to adjust the overlay as well, so now we have a chat overlay, which should be pretty cool. I know that was requested by a few different folks. I like the look of it. It helps, makes it a little easier for me to track stuff. These guys are tricky because they tend to reposition themselves. They also like to stun lock with the swords. Your mother seems fine. Ayo! Excellent. Well played. Top marks. I hope she's fine. Oh, your bear emojis. I forgot about those. They're so cute. Could be making beef over here. Somebody's got to make the beef over here. I hear that's a way to get popular on the internet. There's lots of beef. Oh, God. Nope. No thanks. That's one thing I did not do was grab fireballs. I usually buy those fire bombs. No, go away. I forgot to reload. Call somebody out, Alex. I call out William Dampier, noted 15th to 16th century fire 1500s pirates. Come and catch these hands, Willie. Probably a terrible idea. He's not dead. I mean, he's dead, but he's not dead. It definitely counts. Look, I'm fighting dead people right now. That totally counts. I feel like there should be William Dampier's ghost in any pirate game. I feel like that should be a baseline requirement. How else are we supposed to have... Yeah, I do need to heal myself. Ow. I don't have any good food. I don't have any supplies. This is not going well. I am not pro-gamering it right now. Yeah, how are we supposed to get to a video game in which you can eat all of the things and write notes about them down in a journal if we don't have the ghost of William Dampier? I would play that game. Well, yeah, like 30 coconuts, but I don't eat barrel coconuts. I've got standards. Let's see. Standard is please don't kill me. Yeah, this is what we're looking for here, is this fortress storeroom key. So we're going to run the gauntlet here. Nobody, nothing. We're going to do that, and then we're going to deal with that later, because right now I've got a plan. Yeah, I say before eating barrel coconuts because I am a hypocrite. And then we're going to hide. And I win. Doesn't usually go that well. Thanks. The gigantic keg of black powder is the only thing that went well. So yeah, they've also got these handy little hatches here. They did. They really did. They don't usually do that. Yeah, they got the hatches here for dropping treasure. These are pretty good little ghosty chests. Will get us a little bit of money to get us started. Gold pouch, and then these are nice. So the mermaid gems come in 3 different flavors. You've got your green apple, your blue raspberry, and your red cherry. And they have different value depending on which flavor you happen to have. And the nice thing about them is that you can sell them to any of the trading companies and get reputation for those trading companies. So they're really, really flexible. Alright, and then we also have this firework chest. These come in like a bunch of different types too, which are really cool. I'm going to steal a couple of these, just in case we run into people. They're also pretty valuable. If you can fill up an entire firework chest, you can make a lot of money. I think that's everything from up top here. Alright, and then we're going to run these down. What's this here? Is this ammo? Yeah, just ammo. Oh no, that's the treasury key. Okay, I need to put that somewhere where my poor brain does not forget it. I'll put it there on the stairs. Good enough. Yeah, so I'm going to run this down. And there's also these other little gates here that you can drop. Honk. Oops. And don't do that. Don't do what I just did. Do not follow my example. Do not be a fail pirate. That should be the name of the stream, I guess. Is just don't be a fail pirate. But yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head who all William Dampier sailed with. That dude got around. He basically spent most of his life at sea. Do be a fail pirate. Uh-huh. Yeah, he spent most of his life at sea from like a fairly young age and just got involved in a mutiny, and as most smart people do when you're involved in a mutiny, he went along with it, because when the options are maybe get killed later or definitely get killed now, you generally go with later. Get angry for the content, rage for the content, rage against the dying of the content. Let's see here. Ammo pouches. Yeah, I guess that you just liked it, like at a certain point, you know, especially in a profession where people tend to die very rapidly. One would assume that if you keep doing the very dangerous thing, you like doing the dangerous thing, so. Alright, here we go. Here's the big one. Get political. What's the Pink Flamingos quote? Condone first-degree murder. Filth are my politics, filth is my life. There we go. So I'm just going to open that for later, because I do want to get in here and get some of the other stuff. This is the big treasure room, or what passes for it when you're a newbie and you have no monies. You have more of these little ghosty chests, and when you do a C4, you want to stack everything onto the little platform like so, that is conveniently provided by the ancient colonizing, I presume, Spanish sailors who built these sea forts exactly the same. Kill everyone now. Yeah, exactly. What were Dampier's views on current political topics? The answer is the cringe and colonizing. That's the answer. We're talking about the age of sail here. No one has good opinions. It sounds like he's in need of a good cancel. Yes, cancel William Dampier. Cancel the autobiography that's so rare that I struggled to find a scanned-in ebook copy of it when I wanted to read it. His views were, do they have any spices? Yeah, basically. That's the other thing, like, that bugs me about Sea of Thieves in general, is that you're sitting here trying to find, you know, treasure chests. You want the treasure chest. Treasure chests are cool. Pirates probably did not, generally speaking, care very much about, like, gold and silver and treasure chests because they're very heavy and they're very hard to move. Like, individually, like, if you're a person who's trying to buy a thing, coins are very useful. If you're a ship and you're trying to move as much value as possible across dangerous water and you're trying to do it quickly, you want things like spices. You want stuff that's going to be light and stuff that's, like, easily movable. Like, the best thing you could hope for is, yeah, fabric and spices. Or, like, you know, banknotes. Those were kind of a thing, you know, notes of exchange between major institutions. There we go. So the skulls here, these are for Order of Souls for the most part. Order of Souls are kind of like the hunt all the skeleton things. We might learn a little bit more of their lore if I do some of the Tall Tale voyages. I did sit on the skull. That was very disrespectful. They have gold reliquaries. Once we get up enough to where we can actually fly emissary flags, you can do versions of these forts that provide you with loot specific to the trading company that you're trying to work for. So you can find sea forts that have got, you know, trade goods in them. Ooh, a captain's chest. So this one's actually pretty good. This is a good one. It's also wildly impractical. Let's see. Robin says, gold was to be spent, spices were worth tens of thousands of times their weight in gold. Exactly, it all came down to weight. You've got a thing that's floating in the ocean. You can only carry a certain amount of weight in the first place. Carrying more weight puts you at greater risk of sinking, because if you put it up too high, you're going to capsize. If you store it too low, it's going to get ruined by the water that's eternally dripping into your hull, because, you know, can't seal boats all the way. Even nowadays, you can't seal boats all the way. I did too, but I think it was a bird. I'm 80% sure it was a bird. I should probably go check. Yeah, Steph said, I thought I saw a shadow of a person moving outside. Let's see. I'm going to go up to the gun deck. That's probably the best way to do it. Could have been a Boyd. Birds aren't real. That's my controversial political opinion for the day. Birds aren't real. No, not seeing any sails, unless they rowboated up. Those aforementioned rowboat shenanigans I was talking about the other day. Looks okay. Yeah, all these cannons work, which is really cool. I've been in situations before where we've taken a sea fort. I was sailing with a couple other people. We took a sea fort, and we got attacked by a sloop. So we just hung out up there and grabbed a bunch of cannonballs out of all of the barrels and just shot at them until they decided to go away. Alright, so that's all. I think that's everything. No, I can't grab any more of this gold, which is a shame. Oh, there's one. Alright. We're gonna drop this. Bonk. Pull this out. There we go. I did? Yeah, this stuff you can't grab, which is very disappointing to me. I feel like if it's, like, visible, you should be able to, like, grab it. Like, I get why it's here, like the extra set dressing is supposed to add to the wow factor, but it's... Oh! I missed that. Oops. Well, I get something useful out of this. Yeah, so this stuff right here, the things that are in like the wooden boxes that have the little tarps and ropes on them, these are trade goods. These are what you would trade to the merchants. I gotta bring this back. You know what? I actually don't have to bring it back. I'll just swim it out there because I gotta go out there anyway. And we'll drop this gate here. Bingo. Yeah, this is stuff that you bring to the trade merchants. Some of the stuff that's really cool about the merchants is that they have some cargo that you move that has certain requirements. So if you move bottles of rum, then you need, of course, for the rum to remain unbroken. Or the bottles to remain unbroken, I suppose, to be technically correct. So you can't jump, you can't fall. If it gets hit by like a cannonball, it breaks, and then it's worth less. I'm just gonna leave this on the deck. And then, are we close enough? Yes. Wait. Why is that not working? Let's see. Did I mess up? I might have messed up. Let's see. Interact, disengage, primary use. Nope, that's still set up correctly. Oh, what was that unbound stuff there? Input. Yeah, I messed it up earlier. Fire harpoon, retract harpoon. Left mouse button. There we go. Bingo. Yeah, so then we use our harpoons to just pull all our loot in. I'm a little sad because like last time, or it used to be like back in the day, like way back in the day, that if you wanted to harpoon stuff, it wouldn't pull it off the harpoon automatically. You would have to physically grab it and then take it off the harpoon, which made a lot more sense and was still faster. But they've made a lot of changes over time to make the game a little bit more accessible, so I'll put the fireworks back there for later. Ashes of the Damned here, this is also technically merchant stuff. Yeah, they made a lot of, I hesitate to call them optimizations. I guess they kind of are. But like design decisions that make the game a little faster to play. A little snappier for most folks. Yeah, less accessibility, more convenience. Accessibility is always good, and this game has always been decent at accessibility for the most part. Yeah, pro gamer quality of life, but it mostly comes down to convenience. Like if we get along far enough to where I can get a captaincy ship and a stream or two, captaincy for the most part really does come down to convenience. It just makes it easier to play the game. Or easier to progress in the game, which is silly because fundamentally this game doesn't really have much progression that isn't cosmetic. So if you're playing Sea of Thieves to like speedrun it, then you're kind of playing it for the wrong reasons in my opinion, because there's not really anywhere to go. There are lots of cool games out there that give you places to go. Like even there's this game called Puzzle Pirates, which I don't know if anyone else has played it, but it's a game about being a pirate where all the interactions are just puzzles. So like your sailing game is like a weird Tetris variation. Oh, let's see more barrels here. Sword fighting is so sword fighting is literally just Tetris, but if you go and you knock out enough pieces on your board at one time, it drops them on your opponent's board, and the type of sword that you have determines the shape in which those pieces are dropped. Yeah, pirate-themed Professor Layton, basically, more or less. But one of the things that is kind of unique and interesting about Puzzle Pirates is that they have the ability for like pirate crews, like organized groups of pirates. I need to flip these around here. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, they have the ability for like organized groups of pirates to be able to actually claim territory. And a lot of the islands on different oceans, different servers, start out as being mostly abandoned. So you have to like go there and you have to get all your resources as a group and then like leverage those resources to build things. It's surprisingly complicated for a game about piracy through Tetris. Yeah, it's like Tetris Attack basically, yeah. But this game does not do that. It doesn't give you, the closest they've come is in recent years they've added the ability, or recent months they've added the ability to have a guild. which is a terrible name for a group of pirates. You could do anything other than guild, and it would be so much better. Store? Oh, crap. Oops. Thank you, Steph. Oopsie. Wrong button. I'm still getting used to like talking and playing at the same time. But yeah, so they added guilds, and for the guilds, you can sort of get progression. Steph Mocat. Steph. Shortened, just like Robin, instead of Robin Kate. Oh wait, it was Robin. Damn it. I can't tell the difference. I gotta figure out a way to get like more contrasty names. Goodness gracious. But yeah, so your guilds can technically be ranked, and I'll show you a little bit later. There's a way for the different emissary flags for you to technically be ranked, but like no one cares about the ranks, or for the most part no one cares about the ranks. I won't say nobody does, but for the most part the ranks don't matter. Like there's no, it's not like Call of Duty where you can go up in, what do they call those? You get your different levels, like diamond, a diamond level. Yeah, different colors and everything. Uh-huh. Ah, fuck. Ah, I mean, dang. Yeah, your fit is your rank. If you've got the drip, you've got the rank. You're set. You're golden. Magical. Yeah, so like you can level up your guild for all the good that does. And there's like some cosmetics, and some people care about it, and it's cool. It gives a reason to play the game. But it doesn't really matter. The closest you can get is they have the PvP mode, which is called Hourglass. But even that, like the only thing that matters is a rank that goes up over time regardless of whether or not you win. And now I've lost this. Don't... my poor little ADD brain. There we go. Got you. That's what I wanted. Yes, treasure room. Thank you. But yeah, so like your number's going to go up no matter what you do. Anything you do in this game makes your number go up. It's a question of whether or not your number goes up fast, but the more important question of whether or not you're having a good time. So if you're playing this game, when I'm playing this game, I should say, and I'm trying to be efficient with playing this game, are the times that I've had the least fun. I've enjoyed myself the least. So when I kind of lean into telling stories and doing goofy things and trying out new stuff just to see if it works, those are the times I've had the most fun. Yeah, you play because you like it. And you like what it brings. Like this is a game that's not really like too many other games out there. So if you like the vibe, just enjoy the vibe. You run into some cool, silly people like playing this game sometimes. It's great. And Steph also says the numbers are just an indication of experience, not necessarily translating directly to skill. Yes, absolutely. And like often when it comes into like open world encounters, it's been my experience that people who have the fancy PvP cosmetics and things like that, they usually have focused so hard on that one skill set that they tend to completely lack in others, like situational awareness or like knowing the different islands. There are islands here that have incredibly like good locations for these hidden cannons like you have here on the fort. And if you're clever and you're well practiced, you can just sail your boat by, let it go on its way, hop off, and use that cannon to wreak all kinds of havoc on someone who's not paying attention or doesn't know it's there. Like when it comes to adventure mode, like the win conditions are pretty broad as well. Like if you can sell off the thing that you actually want, then you've effectively won. It doesn't matter if they take the rest of it. It doesn't matter if they sink your boat. You're going to get a new free boat here in about 3 minutes. Which, like, if you're there for the kills and the LOL 360 no-scopes, then you're not going to have as much fun, probably, with those particular conditions. But if you're willing to be flexible and, like, take it as a learning experience, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's also really funny because, like, when it comes to drip, that's also like during the like the age of the Buccaneers, before the golden age of piracy. The drip was also a way to tell whether or not a ship was actually a pirate ship, which is kind of interesting. The lack of drip was how you identified a pirate ship. It's like this was during the time when the Spanish had started to colonize basically everything from Florida all the way down to like the northern coast of South America. And they called it the Spanish Main is what it was referred to. So if you ever see that term in pirate media, that's kind of what they mean, is any of that sort of inland area from Florida roughly to like Brazil-ish, like anywhere along that sort of northern and northeastern part of South America. But the Spanish held all of that, and they definitely did not have the means to protect all of that. Yeah, it means you main Spanish. That's your main faction for real, for real. Actually, that reminds me. I'm gonna take everything out of this, because we might need to cook some food before we get going here. Yes, there's definitely some cookable stuff in here. I will take this back. But yeah, so the Spanish Main. The Spanish got so much money when they first began to colonize South America and the Gulf Coast. They were rolling in it, way more so than any other European power, because no one else was really nearly as well established at the time. And what they did with that money was put together a literal treasure fleet. They would, like, once a year, they would have a huge fleet that would just take everything that they'd gotten for the year, and they would run that thing, they'd run that flag right back to the cap point, basically. Let's see here, I'll get some snake going, and some pork, and some more pork, and another one just for funsies. Hey, commendation unlocked. Faster chef. Yeah, so they would try to run that stuff back to they would run it back to the cap point. Otherwise known as continental Spain. I don't think we have any more food stuff down here, do we? We do. I should grab this. And that would be sort of the target for a lot of privateers who quickly learned that they just couldn't handle it, because you had these massive ships. If you were to attack a Spanish treasure galleon in a sloop, it would literally be like you were trying to scale a castle wall. Like, that's how different the sizes of these ships were compared to each other. So you'd be trying to scale a castle wall, a moving castle wall in the middle of an ocean, with cannons and muskets being fired at you the entire time. It was a bad time. And the Spanish were so sure of the effectiveness of their treasure galleons that they just began, like, decorating that stuff. Let's see, we'll store this real quick. They would put, they called them carved works, so they would put, like, statues, like entire statues on the back ends of their ships. They would put fancy gold filigree over the cannon ports, the gun ports for their cannons. Like, they would absolutely drip out their boats to a ridiculous degree. Didn't need to do that. There we go. They would drip out their boats to a ridiculous degree, and didn't really care that it would slow them down, because they were going to go slow anyway. The issue we talked about earlier of they're carrying a bunch of gold, they're carrying a bunch of heavy trade goods. They're going to go slow no matter what, and they're going to ride low in the water. But they also felt that they were very, like, they were tough enough, they were well enough built that they could handle it. So eventually, privateers got to the point where they could capture some of the smaller ships. There are references, I think, Bartholomew Roberts, Black Bart Roberts, managed to capture a pretty good specimen of, like, a gilded ship, the ship that had all of these carved works on it. He called it the Fancy, I believe it was. And, or might be thinking of the wrong boat. Don't quote me on that one. I'm very crossed up at the moment. But first thing that a pirate would do when they got these boats, they would take all those super valuable things, all these decorations, and they would rip them off, and they would melt them down, or just, like, stow them for later, because all of these things would make your boat slower. They didn't want to be slow. The only like benefit that they had was being able to hit and run and chase down boats that could not keep up with them. So if you were sailing along and you saw, wait, did I not grab the other food? Oh, there we go. I got a food. If you were sailing along and you saw a very large ship that had, 20, 30 guns on it, but it was very plain, if the sides weren't all carved up and there wasn't a gigantic painting of a boat on the back of your boat, I did put it away by accident. If there wasn't a big painting of a boat on the back of your boat, as was the custom at the time, then that would be your first clue that that's a pirate. Yeah, I heard you liked boats, so I put a boat on your boat. I put a picture of a harbor on your boat for some reason so people can look at it while it's in the harbor, I guess. Actually, I might just eat that. So this little green circle that kind of fills up around the outside edge, that is sort of a regen bar that works the way that usual like Call of Duty regen does. If you don't get hurt for a little while, it fills back up. But you can only fill that bar with like cooked food. So, and seaforts are also the best place to cook because it's the only place in the game that has 4 pans instead of 2. So. Actually, that reminds me. Yeah, Bart Roberts was noted for he's considered to be like one of the most successful pirates in history, mostly because he captured a bunch of boats. But the funny thing about capturing a bunch of boats part is that the vast majority of boats that he captured were fishing boats. This dude would just sail in under like full head of sail into a big group of fishing boats, fishing sloops and trawlers and things like that. And fire a shot into the air and be like, hey, give me your boats. And, you know, being sensible folk, the fishermen did not feel like, in fact, dying for a cargo hold full of fish. And, yeah, bullying miners and Eve. Like, he was literally just PvP bullying. He was going in and seal clubbing his way through the level 1 to 5 zone. So like half of the boats that he's credited as capturing were literally just fishing boats. They weren't even fitted for combat. They weren't useful to the purpose. He wouldn't do anything with most of them. He wouldn't refit them. He would just take them and add them to his big flotilla. Dude was just pumping the numbers IRL for real, for real. Let's see. Okay, how's my regen looking? Regen's a little low. I need to eat a little bit more food. Let's try pork chops. So the one annoying thing though about the cooked food, was there a leaderboard at the time? No, but there is one historically because humans are weird. It's very silly to me that people like insist on doing stuff like ranking historical pirates. Or historical anything really, because like the records by and large are not very accurate. Not especially useful all of the time. Let's see. There we go, that's the one. So, Bart Roberts' ship was not the Fancy, that was Henry Avery. That's who I was thinking of. So, Bart Roberts was especially funny because he named like 4 or 5 different ships the Royal Fortune. Yeah, he was just a numbers go up guy, exactly. Hello, Cat, how are you? Yeah, he's just a numbers go up guy. He's like an OG numbers go up guy during the golden age of piracy. But yeah, he had like 4 or 5 different ships that he decided to name the Royal Fortune. He was really obsessed with the Royal Fortune. Kind of like a lot of players in Sea of Thieves are obsessed with naming their boats. The Black Pearl. I've seen so many Black Pearls. So many Black Pearls. This godforsaken game. Please name your boat something else, anything else. But also, it's clearly some sort of a tradition for pirates to be obsessed with a particular name. Rare basically endorsed it, right? Yeah, basically, they set it up. They put the cosmetic kit. I can go in here right now to their goofy pirate emporium thing. And they've got a made-to-order Black Pearl cosmetic set sitting right here under a pirate's life. Mega bundle, etc. Eternal freedom, that's what they call it. That's the equipment bundle. But yeah, they just got all this like Pirates of the Caribbean stuff in here. Black Pearl cosmetic set. So yeah, they set it up. They're clearly not against it. Alright, so now we're sailing east. We're going into the wind, so this is a good chance to talk a little bit about points of sail. So there's a term for the direction the wind is blowing while you're sailing. So here you can see the wind is kind of coming at us and sort of at a 45-degree angle, which normally we shouldn't be able to sail very well in this, but Sea of Thieves is kind of broken. Not really broken, I guess. It's tuned for a different purpose. But this is called being close-hauled. When the wind is sort of like at that 45-degree angle or more forwards than that, that's close-hauled. If it's a little bit shallow of that, like if the wind were coming from that direction, that's going to be your close reach. If it's coming in from the side, that's beam reach. And then if you come over here, it starts becoming known as broad, so it becomes broad reach. Yeah, so we're close-hauled a little bit, but because this game is how it is, we don't really have to worry about it. In fact, sloops go better when they're squared up like this, which makes no sense. Yeah, so my goal here, we've got a little bit of treasure, and I want to be Reaper Emissary. I want to fly the Reaper's bones, just because I think that'll be most interesting, and it's also something I haven't done a bunch of in this game. So we're making our way to Reaper's hideout. Just going to be here, we're going to go past the northern tip of Wanderer's Refuge, and right to Reaper's hideout. Yeah, in terms of the lore of this game, also that weather's not looking too great over there. Yeah, in the lore of this game, we talked a little bit last stream about like the pirate lord and his whole thing with being obsessed with the pirate way of life to an uncomfortable extent. It looks like we might have company waiting for us over there. Yeah. Now it's time to talk a little bit about ship identification in Sea of Thieves. So, looking from this angle, you can see there's only one tier. There's no topsail on that mast, which means that this is a sloop. You can see the lights are on, which usually indicates they're a little bit newer. The other thing that really indicates that they're very new is that they are anchored with their sail down. The implication. That's a pretty good name for a boat. So yeah, that's definitely a newer player. They aren't flying an emissary pennant, which means they probably don't have anything too valuable on board. But as we go by, we're going to eyeball them and see what's going on. If they have a little bit of treasure, we might be able to get a sink, first sink of the stream. Let's see, I've got a little bit of chain shot. I've got the scatter shot here, which is really like more of like a grape shot kind of thing. Keep those on hand here. And then I don't want to get boarded, especially because I'm solo. So what I'm going to do is swap out this the fire bombs for blunder bombs. And we're going to go around the southern edge here of Wanderer's Refuge, just to make them think we're going around. And then once we get around the southern side, we're going to angle north and come at them and try and get close enough to see what's going on. That storm's coming in too, which is going to make things interesting. A lot of people get nervous about storms in Sea of Thieves, but there we go. I need to reset my bindings. But like the storms will fill you with water, but it's never enough to sink you. So on their own, storms cannot kill you. It's not worth being too terribly worried about. Also, I need to set another few things. Let's see. Throwables. Throwables there, and then I need my bucket. Bucket. Perfect. Alright. Unfortunately, when I set up a new account, it also reset all my button binds, which is a very silly way to do things. Yeah, so now we've rounded up on them. They're a little bit distracted, most likely, with the storm coming in. We're gonna go in and say hello. That's one thing that Sea of Thieves has in common with historical piracy, actually, is that half the game is trying to get close to somebody without them panicking. It looks like that storm's actually coming in right on top of everything. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this one off. I'm going to break off a bit. The problem with sailing solo in a storm is that you can't really fire and also deal with the storm at the same time. So you're going to be constantly pulled all over the place. Here's the other reason you don't leave your lanterns on. As you can still kind of, you can see those are on an outpost, those little lanterns there. But if you leave them on your boat, people can see you in all kinds of situations. Fog and storm. All that good stuff. I think I'm just going to wave off on this one. I might come back and try and find them after I've dropped some of the loot and the storm has passed. Yeah, such is the purpose of a ship lander. Exactly, it's serving its purpose. To not get crashed into in heavy fog, yeah. You can see those birds there over the water too. There's something over there. It doesn't look big enough to be a shipwreck though. A shipwreck would be good at this point. We're coming in on the north side of Reaper's hideout. So yeah, the Reapers are sort of supposed to be the antithesis to the Pirate Lord's pirate way of life spiel that he's super obsessed with as a character. And it's kind of implied that they're only really focused on destruction, but a lot of what I keep seeing in like the lore and things. So that right there is a galleon. You can see there's a mainsail on the main mast there. But all of the sails are pretty ragged, which means that that's probably a skeleton galleon. Which means it's not going to attack us unless we attack it first. So we don't need to worry about that one. Yeah, the Reapers are ultimately kind of like just centered on taking people's stuff. They don't deal with the trading companies. You can sell anything that you get to Reapers, and if it's stolen, it makes you a little bit more money than usual. All of the emissaries, you have to get to rank 15 with them before you can fly their emissary flag. The emissary flag is the best way to quickly level stuff up, and the Reapers have also some special abilities tied to their emissary flag that are pretty cool. They also have a really cool hideout. So yeah, there's usually a little dock here. We're going to try and pull up to the dock. Let's see what we can do with that. Oops. A little too close to the shore there. That was my bad. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna bung these holes real quick. Captain, we've struck land. Indeed we have. Great success. Medals for everyone. Alright. Yeah, so the other nice thing too with some of the recent updates, you can attach the harpoon. Oops. If you attach it to a good enough spot. Let's try there. Question mark? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Ooh. Someone left something that they probably shouldn't have left. Now it's mine. Yeah, so you can balance on the rope here and run it across. And you get like a little balancing minigame. It's fun. Makes it much more viable to sell to Reaper specifically than it used to be, because it used to be you'd have to run everything in by hand all the way. Yeah, so we'll sell off that. You see we get a little bit of money. And then what you should see is that there is a standing marker that comes up next as well. And I'm going to keep this chest because we've got some small stuff anyway that we need to take in. So I'll just use that for the small stuff as we go. Yep, and there's a little bit of Reaper's Bones reputation. So with the Reapers, like I was saying before, you can sell anything to them. If it's stolen, it's worth more, and there's some stuff they buy for greater amounts, but the real money, the good stuff, comes from stealing other people's emissary flags. So if you've got somebody who's flying Gold Hoarders or flying Order of Souls or even like also flying Reaper, when you sink them, if they've got that flag up, it drops a flag item. And you can take that flag and you can sell it. And you get a whole lot of reputation for someone's broken flag and a pretty good amount of money depending on how high of a grade they've gotten to. Which, you know, that's kind of like not directly analogous to, but also like not unlike how things were during the actual Golden Age of piracy. Like especially like early on, not less so the Golden Age, but let's see here. The Age of the Buccaneers definitely, like pirates were known as privateers sometimes if they had an official commission, and they would get rewarded with notoriety and gold and like knighthoods and other like marks of office if they were successful. Henry Morgan is an excellent example of that. He's a buccaneer who spent a lot of time sailing against the Spanish on the Spanish Main. He's also the guy which Captain Morgan is named after. So remember, kids, if you become historically significant enough, maybe you too can have your face on a bottle of cut-rate rum. Let's see here. But yeah, he sailed. He was very successful. Fought not just on the sea, but also on land. Captured a number of Spanish assets, did a whole bunch of damage. Ended up retiring and founding 3 of the biggest slave plantations in the Caribbean, and becoming extremely wealthy off of the back of not only the people who sailed under him, who also didn't benefit nearly as much, but also many, many enslaved people. But that was often the reason a lot of people did this. It's the reason a lot of people would sign on as privateers. If you were someone who was like a sailor, if you were someone who was just a common person on the boat. Yeah, another way to get alcohol named after you. Exactly, the irony. He also, they were sugar plantations as well, which like rum is made from like the offset or the byproducts of sugar production due to slavery. Yeah. It's absolutely terrible. But yeah, if you were nobility, or if you were minor nobility, or you were just from like a wealthy family and didn't have a noble title, like a lot of people were using this as an opportunity. If you were like, for lack of a better term, like a fail son, if you were like 6th or 7th in line, and you didn't have a whole lot going on, sometimes the best you could do was charter a boat, go to sea, roll the dice. Maybe you get to be a colonizing jerk as well, make a bunch of money, make people suffer, make you richer. But even if you were a sailor, like if you were a sailor on these crews, like the bar was already extremely low. Tech startup, yeah. The bar was already extremely low in terms of like quality of life if you were a sailor on a ship. If you were on a ship in a sailing ship in pretty much any era, you had an awful existence with terrible food and horrendous living conditions. And in the case of like sailing for official navies, you would be subject to incredible levels of corporal punishment for fairly minor infractions. If you were part of like a pirate or a privateer crew, those might be more relaxed. Like we were talking a little bit about Black Bart Roberts earlier. And one second, I need a drink of water. So when you had like pirate ships, for the most part, they would have an accord. They would have some sort of like a contract, basically, that everyone involved in the crew would sign on to. Could be amended at a later date depending on how it was set up. And that was what determined like what everyone was paid, what everyone could and couldn't do. And one of the known, like there's a record of his accords, one of Bart Roberts' accords, was that unless it were a time of like dire need, anyone was entitled to like as much to eat and drink as they wanted, as was available. Which was amazing for a ship at sea. Like that would be absurd by the standards of the time period where everyone's eating like ship's biscuits and gruel and rancid butter and like all these other terrible foodstuffs. If you could work as a sailor and be on a ship where you could just eat and drink what you wanted, like that was a huge perk of the job. But also, like, that's the bare minimum of what human beings need and deserve, like, as people. Yeah, you might still be eating shitty food, but just more of it, exactly. But even the fact that you could eat more is itself kind of wild. Yeah, there was no such thing as good food at sea, for the most part. That's actually how the Buccaneers got their name. So, Buccaneer comes from Bucani, which comes from Bucan, is my understanding, which is a type of jerky almost. That's a kind of smoked jerky that was made by hunters in the Caribbean. They would shoot the wild hogs we talked about in the last stream that the Spanish sort of seeded throughout the Caribbean Isles. They would shoot these pigs, and then they would take them and put them over wooden racks inside of like sheds, and then light fires underneath in order to like smoke and dry them at the same time. And then the end result would be kind of like almost like a wood-like food stuff, like a jerky that you could then soak, and it would have like a really nice red color to it because of all the smoke that got in it, like if you have smoked brisket or something like that nowadays. You know, that smoke ring, I think is what they call it, that's around the meat when you cut into it. It was like that, but all the way through, just nicely salted, and like compared to the other stuff that you would be able to like bring with you all the way across the southern Atlantic, it was really nice. Then we're going to use this thing a little bit now, because I don't want to move all these every time. I forgot we had it. How do streamers do this? How do you keep track of like everything going on in your head? I need to ask Guppy later for tips on how to like not get distracted. Yeah, so the things you don't, yeah. You just don't. You give up. But yeah, so the things that they would prepare all of this like meat on, they were known as boucans. That was what the French called them anyway. They were actually like indigenous creations. These are things that like people who lived in these places used all of the time. And then, you know, colonizers do what they do, and they come in and they're like, hey, that's a cool idea. It's my idea now. I forget how the comic works exactly. It's like, you made this? I made this. Yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah, people who would then, you know, make the boucanier en boucans became known as boucaniers. And because they were really, really good with guns, because they hunted all the time, eventually they started getting hired to be on ships, specifically ships of war. Specifically, Protestant ships of war aligned against the Catholic Spanish. And they started forming like confederations of their own, with their own articles of confederation and like all this other stuff. Alright, so we've gone from about 23 grand to 53 grand. Just off of that one sea fort, which is pretty good, not too bad. Guppy didn't not get distracted is the thing. Yeah, fair enough. Her streams were very enjoyable, however. So perhaps that's the lesson. Get distracted, but make it entertaining. But yeah, all of that just to like have better food. Better food is hugely important. That's the one reason why, or one of the reasons why that the Caribbean became so popular with colonizers, is that there is a lot of food stuff around. So the fact that you can like maroon somebody, you can just like leave them. Let's see here. What do I want to do? Let's go back. Let's go back towards Twin Groves now that that storm has passed and see if we can find that person. If we can't, then we'll sail back to Merrick. And we will go clothes shopping, because I badly want to go clothes shopping. I'm tired of newbie clothes. I will need some help with clothes shopping for sure. But yeah, so you have like the trope of like being marooned or being a maroon on an island, right? In Pirates of the Caribbean, like I forget how long they said that, you know, Jack Sparrow was marooned for. the only reason that was even possible for the most part was that most of these islands would have food and they would have shelter, and like they would be, you would have a hard time, but you could live there. You could exist there for a little while. And there are several, like there's many historical cases of people who were marooned and managed to survive because it was a place that had a comparatively high amount of food and livable conditions, and you wouldn't die immediately. Depending on the island, of course. Oops. No, no! Ah! Dead! Is that our guy? Nope, that's just a sea post. If we're lucky, there's a possibility. Oh. Nope, that's just a sea post. Ah, okay. So see all that big pile of birds over there? That usually means there's something big in the water. So we'll take a bearing. Southwest. We'll go ahead and turn southwest. And then you can see here, we're at the beam reach now. Since the wind's a little bit behind us, we can turn the sail. Bingo. And now we're really moving. At least as much as a sloop can. Sometimes, if you're careful and you pay attention, you can find cool stuff on the shores of the islands as well. I think that's our boy. East of here? Let's go say hello. Okay, so as we're sailing here, we're going to have to move our sails to the opposite side because we're changing sides. Make sure I've got food, make sure I've got lumber. Looking good. Again, no pennants. Lights on. Looks like our guy. So the sloop can only have 1 or 2 people on it, which means that it's not quite a square fight necessarily, but it might be. That's the best fight I'm likely to get, on my own terms anyway. No flag flying, which is especially interesting. Get my sails tweaked a little bit. So now we're getting pretty close to running with the wind, which would be advantageous to us. Yeah, I can see one person there on the stern, looking this way. Or they were, now they're gone. They're going into Reapers. Means they're probably going to be trying to sell. Yeah, they're definitely trying to sell something. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my sail a little bit. Get myself going in a more or less advantageous direction. Where I'm not going to die immediately. Then I'm going to go over and say hello and see what they got. I'll let the boat go without me for a little while, because I can always mermaid back. Hello, hello, how's it going? Looks like a few little treasure chests. One guy going up top. There is no powder keg up there. What is he doing? He's trying to raise a flag, I think. Alliance flag, huh? Howdy, pal. How's it going today? Nice. I like your face paint. It's pretty good. Making much money? You got much stuff? Oh, yeah. It's looking pretty good. It's a nice little haul you got there. This looks like, what, like a seafort or something? Yeah, something along those lines. Alrighty, well, I was going to, like, poke and see if I could get a little something, but it looks like you're about as poor as I am, so I'm gonna leave you to it. Oh, is that one for me? Alright. Thanks, pal. I appreciate it. I'll take these and I'll bury them for later. I'll come back and get them, okay? I appreciate it. Sea of friends. Now I feel bad. Oh. I'm gonna pull a William Dampier, so like if anyone asks, or if anyone reads my journals, I'm gonna tell them that I totally got that in a fair fight. So what we're gonna do here, oops. Need to pick a better spot. There we go. I don't know, like I have a hard time. That's part of the reason I don't usually do PvP games very well. I have a hard time firing the first shot. Although I guess I didn't do it this time either, so. Wait, I'm being a dingus. What am I doing? I can just take this and sell it, because I'm right here anyway. See, this is why I shouldn't be trusted with captaincy. It's like I clearly am not competent enough to be... I had intimidated him into giving me a share of the booty. Exactly. Also, it would appear my whole ship has a hole in it, so I should probably go take care of that. Thank you, game, for being incredibly informative. Where's that mermaid? So all you gotta do if you want to get back fast is you have to swim over and get far enough away from where your ship is where a mermaid will spawn. That one's too far away. Yes, psychically connected to my ship, apparently. There's also apparently a active skelly fleet, which is not great. At this rate, by the time I get back to my boat, it's going to be sunk already. I can't go that way because there's a bunch of skeleton pirates that way. And I need to get back to my ship, like, right now. Oh dear. Oh no. is my biggest fear being a streamer. My incompetence laid bare for the world. But you know, it's not that bad in hindsight. Yeah, we're doing okay. Looks like I just bounced off something. No, there's not really anything important on it other than the supplies. So, like, it's not a big deal. I can get supplies anywhere. The nice thing is I'm nice and clear of the, what's that over there? Oh, that is an emissary. That is a target I do have a reason to attack. Alright, folks. One step closer to, getting that Reaper's Bones emissary coming right up. Alright, so you can see that they got their masts down and they're anchored, which is not great practice. They're up there near, looks like Hidden Springs Keep. And you can see, up on the very top of their mast there, they've got that big skinny flag. That'll be the pennant, which means they're flying some flavor of emissary. Which means they're going to have some flavor of emissary loot on board because they've been doing missions for that particular trading company. Make sure there aren't any fresh holes and that I'm doing okay. Looks alright to me. Yeah, also importantly, this is a sloop as well. So. And since you can see there's not a nameplate coming up, that means it's another chartered sloop. It means it's someone else who doesn't have a captaincy ship. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering as well. Like, that should go away. In fact, I should be able to turn that off in my settings. If I go to HUD. There's a lot of this stuff I can get rid of. Tutorial. Island banners. Gameplay. I don't know. I'll have to look at that later. I can't right now. But there's definitely a way to turn off the tutorial messages. If I'm not careful, this person's going to see me come. In fact, they might have already. They just changed their sail orientation. So here, this area is called the Wilds. And you can tell that because the waves are much taller and the water's much darker. You get sort of this darker blue. It also makes it much harder to use your spyglass or to fire cannons. So what we're going to want to do here is get up high so we can actually look down onto their deck and see if they've got any loot worth taking, because if they don't have anything worth taking, I don't want to sink them. That's kind of the one rule I'm setting for myself, is if they're don't have anything worth taking, I'm not going to sink them. So I'm pretty sure this is another one of those seaports. So they've at least like unlocked a seaport, which means we can get a free seaport. Okay, so the way the wind's kind of set up as we're going in, they're also facing... Steph says, according to Reddit. Let's see. It's near the bottom of the gameplay settings according to Reddit. I see. Okay, gameplay settings. Unread tutorial prompt animations off. Bango. Thank you. Yeah, so the nice thing about sneaking up on someone at one of these is that for the most part, they're pretty distracted. They've also, because the green light is off, it means that they've completed this particular fort. And the wind is also in a direction where if they try to take off, they're going to be very slow. Whoop. Unless they start pulling that stuff. Rude.
Damn it. He's dead.
Oh, they got a couple shots on me. So this is a pretty bad situation for me overall because they've got so many guns, they can just run around in circles. And shoot at me all day, whereas I cannot necessarily shoot back at them, and they have a lot more ammo. The good thing is we can tell by the way that they're shooting that they're not very good shots, which is a good sign for us, and so far they haven't hit anything vital. It's mostly been up high, where the water's not going to get in as long as we're pretty close. So the trick is going to be trying to sink their boat so that they get forced to despawn, and then we go on to the fort and knock them out. And then hope that they don't just waste us before we can do that. So I'm going to give them something to think about, which is going to be in the shape of a firebomb on their ship on this pass. That's the goal. And they've done some damage on me now this time, but most of those hits are been toward the back. So those are, again, most of those ones are going to be up high, which is fine. I can take those all day. We just need to make sure that the hits that are going to be coming in on the bottom of the hull aren't going to negatively affect me. And if I can patch enough, what I can do is shoot myself over there. And ideally set fire to their ship before they can actually do too much damage to me. That's the plan anyway. But I gotta get to a point where I've hit them a few times. Alright. Doing pretty good altogether. Not too bad. They keep wasting their ammo, which is very convenient for me. There's also another ship coming in, which is interesting. That is also a ship with a pennant. You can hear him talking. Looks like their ship's gone. But they're still here. Alright, I gotta get back. Alright. So that's their ship. Their ship is left. They're there with the big Reaper chest on their butt, which is going to be especially bad for them here in a minute. And now they've also left their advantageous position on the fort itself, so they no longer have the cover of the cannons to work with. we're going to try and circle around behind them. Oop, that was a backsplash. Oopsie. Where'd he go? There he is. Alright. Bring this across. So the way the wind is kind of set, he looks like he's trying to run because he's got his sail down and he's not turning very hard. So we're going to turn into the wind, and as we complete this turn, use that to accelerate away. Right now he's turning to port. So we're going to try and cross him up so that we can get shots on him and he can't get shots on us. The downside to that is we are now going to be moving a little faster, which means we're going to take water on faster, which is not super great for us. It also puts us a little bit in danger. And you can see the pennant that they've got up on top of their ship is going to be having, it has red stripes on it. That indicates that they are also reapers. And they've gotten a little bit further ahead. But that flag that they've got is hugely valuable. Now they're getting a little wiser. Alright, make sure all my holes are patched. Looks good. Yeah, that didn't get rid of the tutorial messages. I don't know why. So the main danger now of tracking him like this is that they can jump off the back of their boat and send aboard her very, very easily. Yeah, it should go away next time I log in, I hope. That's my hope anyway. Yeah, no good information. It's what it probably is just a hole in a weird spot that I haven't noticed yet that just needs to be fixed. Yeah, you can see right there they've got a Reaper 3 going. Okay, so he's going to bundle himself in there and have to turn to starboard anyway. So I'm going to go make sure my sails are all the way over. Looks like I can't get enough wind to actually do anything with, so. We want to stay clear of that tower, because there's a possibility they drop someone off to try and get shots on me. That's what I would do anyway. Yeah, the funny thing about this, so all this stuff of like flags trying to read pennants and trying to tell what people's intentions are. Yeah, see. Trying to tell what people's intentions are. Yeah, keep firing, dude. That was a big part of what pirates would actually do. You would often have like a box of various nations' flags and such that you would just have on hand, specifically for the purpose of appearing like one person or another person, or even impersonating ships that you definitely were not. Yeah, we're riding the edge of this storm just enough to get a little bit of the wind, which is not going to be good for me. Especially if that happens. I think we're about to get attacked by a skeleton sloop. No sign yet. If we can just get into some of these smoother waters. Oh no, they got attacked by a galleon. Those guys are having a bad day. So the new plan is try and sandwich the Reaper. And knock them out before they can actually respond. So now that they're kind of distracted with this Skelly Galleon, I can more safely move in behind them, because now they're not going to be able to hop off without severely hurting their ability. Without severely hurting their ability to act and react. We also don't want to let them sandwich that galleon between us and them, because then that galleon's going to be like 50-50 on whether or not they're going to go after the Reaper. So yeah, we're going to adjust sails. Then we're going to turn to port, which is going to speed us up a bit. Just like that. That's going to put us in a position to tee up on their stern. Okay, look, this is a nice gentle turn. One hit. Now we're going to give them our stern because they're far enough away and they've already proven themselves to be pretty poor marksfolk, so we should be able to pretty safely wear off and let that galleon get back to where it can start firing shots. Bring our sails back around here. And then we don't want to get near that galleon. We want to try and get that galleon focused on the sloop. So we're going to edge in close enough. Took a hit from the galleon. Kind of long vomited in there. Oop, we got hit with something. What was that? I think that one locked all our boxes. There's a cursed cannonball. It looks like they're going to try and harpoon turn into us. You can hear those harpoon shots pinging off the rock, so we need to get back up top pretty quick. That galleon has decided it wants us very badly. Alright. That's Reapers up ahead of us. So you can see that glowy bit they've got on front of their ship. That means that they are currently trying to sell that. That is a chest that you can only sell at Reaper's hideout. So that'll be what they've run all this way to try and get rid of. If we could get that, it would be very, very good for us. Well, good for me. It looks like they're being shot at again by the galleon, which is going to make it very hard for them to go ahead and dock. Us is correct? Okay. I wasn't sure. Like, I'm sure there's a cultural distinction there in terms of what Twitch people usually use. So yeah, they're going to try and run in that chest. That's what they're most worried about right now. Which is cool. They can do that. I'm just in it for the fight. Is this real? This is real as you want to make it, darling. Let's see. Where did they go? Did they just slip around the outside? Did they dive? If they dove, they will leave all their treasure behind, which would be very weird. Oh, there they are. Yeah, you can see the shiny thing on their prow is gone. And that's a dude just like shooting himself over. So they went and sold the one thing that they really wanted, and now all the extra stuff is bonus. Joke's on them, though. I want all of the treasure. For me, it's mine, please. Thank you. So now, hopefully, they will turn and fight. Instead of being running reapers. Those babies. Because I want that emissary flag. That's what I really want. That's all the good stuff right there. Ours, yes. The treasure is ours. Oh, here they come. They're turning in for the gun pass. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Okay. You go for that, boo. That's cool by me. So now we're giving them our stern port side, which is exactly what I want them to be shooting while we get into this turn. Oh, they're getting megalodoned. These guys have the worst luck. No, we're getting megalodoned. We have the worst luck. This is terrible. I hate everything about this right now. I can't shoot them, they can't shoot me. The shark wants my butt. I can't see well enough to actually get shots on. There we go. That one's gonna hit. I finally got a couple shots on, but now they're shooting me because they can actually see me. It means it's my turn to hide underground and patch. And hope they don't board me while I'm patching. Ooh, that water's getting pretty high. That's a little worrisome. So yeah, right now we just gotta survive for a second. Oh, this might not be good. This is pretty bad. They're lighting us up pretty bad. I'm stuck bailing and I can't get caught up. Yeah, this is not good. They're just gonna board and finish me off. Yep, that's me. I'm done. GG, guys. Nice fight, nice chase.
Hey, GG. GG, GG.
And that's that. Not the most auspicious start to a Reaper career, but we all have to start somewhere, right? So while that's loading, I am going to go AFK for a second to refill my water bottle. I will be back in 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just going to put this up for a little bit. See y'all in a little while. Alrighty, I am back. It also occurs to me that the chat box and the Abby things are a little low, so I'll fix that real quick before I forget again. There we go. I'll have to make some adjustments there later on. But yeah, so it's pretty clear what happened there. So when I came in to shoot at them, check gameplay settings maybe? That's a good idea. Yeah, it really, really wants me to know about the holes in my ship, which is understandable. I appreciate the game wanting to know me to know about the holes in my ship. However, snake. What I need is some way of making holes in my ship to force it to acknowledge that I have holes on my ship. And that I have indeed fixed the holes on my ship. Let's see. Reduce, hold to interact. Those are fine. I have this at how I want them. Yeah, I got lots of holes in my ship. I got so many holes in my ship. It's probably not in there. Let's see. Toggle radial menus. Island banners, outpost locations, name visibilities. Crew status tags. Disable seated notifications. Pirate milestone, ship milestone. I don't know. Like those, that seems like where it should be. I guess it's just bugged. Yeah, it probably is. I could go back to main menu and fix it. In fact, I might do that because it's starting to bother me pretty badly. But also we're pretty close to the end of the stream, so I am not sure either way. I might just soldier through on this one. Alright, let's get a look at our surroundings here before we do too much else. Yeah, so what happened with that was that when I came in, they got shots on me before I could get shots on them. You could see that they were kind of like knocking me around and they had 4 or 5 holes in me first. But when I came in, I turned in all the way, brought the wheel all the way around to sort of fully commit to the spiral for the broadside, which I should not have done. I should have like left that at about half of the committed level. Looks like something over there. Let's go take a look at that. Northeast. Let's go see what's over there. Yeah, so I overcommitted to the exchange when I knew that I'd already received the worst of it. Not even regarding like the Megalodon. So yeah. And then also it was a duo sloop as opposed to my little solo sloop, which didn't help. It also isn't an excuse because I picked that engagement, so that was on me. I'll just have to remember not to engage so aggressively next time. See, most of the time in this game, I'm the person who's being shot at. I'm not the person doing the shooting. Or not the person who's doing the shooting first, I should say. Because I absolutely provoked them. I absolutely did that. That was the thing that I am responsible for. Yeah, so what we're looking for over there, I'm just going to go slow until I get the heading them dialed in. We want those birds, because those birds tend to mark interesting things in the water. But yeah, I appreciate all of the suggestions. Oh, there's a boat over there too. I appreciate all the suggestions everyone made after the last stream on the the aesthetics and getting things set. I hope the video quality's been better this time. I hope the overlay is a little better as well. They made some adjustments there. And if y'all have any other suggestions or ideas, please do not hesitate to let me know. I appreciate the feedback. I'm still kind of getting my feet under me here, and every little comment, every little recommendation helps me to make this better. So I think I want to try this for at least a month or two, just to see how it works out. Where did those birds go? That's probably the guys who sunk me, honestly. A big fog bank over there. It was a little ways away. We can sail this way for a bit and see if we end up running into that pile of birds. Also, as the sun comes up, all of this fog is going to burn off, which is going to help a little bit. Yeah, I was thinking about possibly splitting the streams up into a couple different flavors. So something like the sailing and the raiding, maybe 1 day a week, 1 or 2 days a week. But I also was thinking about possibly doing some of the Tall Tales streams, because this game has really cool stories and a lot of really nice music and scenes and things that they put together that I would definitely like to show off as well, and also redo them because I haven't done them in a long time. And there's a big story season coming up soon as well. I was sure I saw someone with a pennant over there as well. I was sure I saw birds over in this direction, unless I'm just completely losing my mind. Or possibly it despawned. That's possible too. I suppose it could have sunk. But you know, it's a shame. Yeah, so when we were in that that engagement, I was talking a little bit about how pirates would use flags. So a lot of people know about like pirate flags. Some people know about different flavors of them too, because they come in different styles and different eras. During the first stream, we talked a little bit about the black flag versus the red flag and some of the meanings behind them. But very often pirates would also just carry different nations' flags for a variety of reasons. So the number one reason is that one of the easiest ways to get close to a ship of a particular nation is to appear as, you know, part of that navy yourself, or part of that nation yourself. It's not quite an accurate representation, but the movie Master and Commander has a really cool, yeah, thank you. See, all of the UI is bugged because that was the title card for, or that was the ship name for those last folks in the sloop. So now that's finally showing up. So maybe I just needed to get close enough to an island to force the title card to change. Nope, there it goes. It's back again. Dang it. Yeah, so the movie Master and Commander shows that a little bit, where you've got a ship of war that goes and disguises itself as a whaler of a different nation in order to trick an enemy privateer into attacking them instead of them having to chase the faster ship down. And there is some historical precedent for that idea, that concept, because basically, as long as you flew the correct flag of your nation or representative nation before, let's go take a look at that galleon. As long as you flew the correct flag before you fired your first shot, it was considered fair game. Those were the rules, so you could portray whoever you wanted until the moment of firing. It was very similar for pirates, but like pirate flags in general were really just kind of like propaganda pieces. The best proposition for a pirate would be to scare whoever you're chasing well enough that they would not fire a shot to resist you. 3 masts there, that's going to be a galleon still. And you just get free loot, whatever it is that you wanted to have. They would comply and they wouldn't fight back. So over time, part of the reason of having a particular flag associated with your crew was to build a reputation for being ferocious or particularly dangerous. So that when you flew your particular flag that was easy to describe, because remember, this is a time before people were like doing any sort of mass distributed like visual media. Like the best you could really hope for in terms of mass-produced visual media was like a woodcut. And even that would take an extremely long time to set up and an extremely long time to distribute. So you needed a flag that was very clear in terms of what it was so that people could then describe it. So you would have like a red flag with a death's head, or, you know, you would have a skeleton astride 2 skulls, or, you know, something along those lines that it would be easy to spread word about. We're going to go get that spirally thing there. That Reaper chest. We're going to go grab it and run it in. I think that would be a good note to end on. Yeah, so in that case, the flags served a very different purpose. Like, you would occasionally have pirates and privateers who would, you know, act as if their ship was of a particular nation in order to garner sympathy or appear like they were, you know, in peril and in need of help in order to get close. But it was also a very useful tool for conducting their business, because, you know, piracy is ultimately a business. You're in it to make money. If you're sailing on a pirate ship, your reward for that endeavor is going to be a portion. Those guys are still over there. Just kind of sailing parallel to us off to the east. You're in it to make money, and you get a share of whatever the... Nice, welcome back, Guppy. You missed me getting my butt kicked by that boat over there somewhere. Got chased by a shark and shot at by a skeleton galleon and all kinds of fun stuff, so... I'm glad you were back. Because now, I love watching people getting the butt kicks. Well, you missed a doozy. You'll have to go back and watch the VOD. But yeah, I was just talking a little bit about pirate flags. Part of the reason we found that target was because they were flying a big pennant, like a big banner up on top of their mast, which meant that they were the sort of folks who would have stuff to take, right? Yeah, I was talking a little bit about like why people flew pirate flags. Like, it wasn't just to be spooky or to like be like, aha, we're pirates, but it, you know, it was a tool for someone to say, you should give up and let us get paid as safely as possible for us. Yeah, it's branding. It's a corporation. It was a corporation if instead of holding your phone hostage, they were holding your boat hostage. That's part of the reason that like a lot of like the vast majority of pirate flags that you see portrayed in media, the different flavors of pirate flags, weren't actually from the era. These were things that people made up or would draw based on the description that was given, you know, in reports back to port, or reports of like people who had survived. There are, to my knowledge, there are no surviving pirate flags. We don't have pirate flags physically in hand in a museum somewhere. The only thing we have are descriptions and other people's interpretations of those descriptions. But that's part of what I really like about the way Sea of Thieves does their emissary system, because you fly an emissary's like banner, and they do a really good job, like a lot of things in this game visually. They do a nice job of differentiating stuff. Like if I look at those sails, I can tell from a distance that those sails are skeleton sails, because they got a really cool outline. And they've also got like the big megalodon skull in the front, and like all these other little details that tell me something about the boat that I'm looking at. Also, you can't really see it very well from here, but the sails have a particular color and design on them. So once you learn the language of skeleton sails, you can tell like what kind of cursed cannonballs they've got on board. What are they going to shoot at you? And they've also got stuff like tied into the lore, like whose crew do they belong to, like all these other little details. But even if you're looking at a pirate boat, I can't really show you a good example here because we don't have enough money to get an emissary flag yet, or enough standing for that matter. But the emissary flags have a different outline. So if you're clever, and you pay attention, and you learn, and you're willing to keep an open mind, there's so many visual clues you can use to just look at someone's boat and figure out like, what kind of player is this? You know, what are they doing? What are they trying to show me? It's really cool in that way. Alright, let's see if I can get this readjusted. There we go. Yeah, my hope is that we're way up here in the north. You can see where we came from. This is where we spawned over at Wanderer's Refuge, pretty close to where we were previously at Port Merrick. And we burned all the way northeast to like almost the very northeast corner, and we're going to be going all the way to the edge of the map up past Marauder's Arch. So right now we're passing Daggertooth Outpost and Galleon's Grave, which are two of like the mid-map areas. We're going to go around Old Fateful Isle. So we're on our way. We'll get there. Guppy says, I remember east by saying left is west and east is west, and it works because west almost rhymes with left. Excellent. That's just about the same as how I remember port from starboard, because starboard has R in it, and it's pirates. It's on a boat, and R means right. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, give me that good thing. Yeah, got the good thing. Steph says I don't remember, I just guess. Yeah, exactly. Starboard. That's a good point, Steph. Port because 4 letters just like left. That's nice. I like that a lot. So yeah, so now this right here, I was talking a little bit about points of sail. When the wind's directly behind you, this is known as running. This is a dead run, where we're just like, we've got the wind coming in right behind us, and we're just going right with this as fast as we're going to be able to go in this little tub. Which, this is pretty fast. It's not too bad. Also, funny thing about R, or more accurately, Yar. So, like, what a lot of people think of as, like, pirate speak. There are records of, like, pirates speaking in that way, or, like, implications of pirates speaking in that way. But what that Yar, that's part of a Welsh accent from Wales in the UK. And a lot of pirates came from Wales because there were a number of like ports there that weren't quite as big as London or other like officially managed ports. You know, a lot of like smaller areas, a lot of famous Welsh pirates throughout history. And Yara was just like a way of saying yes, or you're like, yeah, yo, I agree. But that became sort of pirate speak. Thanks. I don't remember which year it was released, but it's a very old like black and hey, no, bad. You know, screw this. I'm never gonna hit that. Never mind. That's what I get for trying. I'm just gonna yell, yell angrily. But yeah, so it was like, I'll have to look it up. Let's see. So the movie was Treasure Island. It was a very old adaptation of Treasure Island. I will find out which year. I think it was 1930. It's probably the 1934. I believe. Yeah, 1934. 1934 black and white version of Treasure Island, and the actor's name was Wallace Beery, and he was playing Long John Silver in this film. Ah yes, the smoothbore long rifle, exactly. I've got a funny story about that, but that's gonna have to wait. Yeah, so Wallace Beery playing Long John Silver in the 1930s version of Treasure Island, and they told him, you know, you come up with like this way that a pirate would speak that's very like intimidating and sounds cool, basically, right? And so he was talking with some folks, like other actors that he knew, and began to like realize, like looking up some history, and realized that same fact that a lot of pirates came from Wales, and he had some friends who had Welsh accents. So he just decided to go full in, like really kind of send it with this really weird accent that not a lot of like people in the U.S. cinema had heard before. And so he went for it and did such a good job that it became the pirate accent. And like to this day, it's how we think of pirates speaking. Just because this one guy was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. It's going to be great. This is going to be challenging. Yeah, I try to think of that sometimes, or whenever I'm feeling like uncertain about doing something. You know, sometimes you really do. Ooh, I think that's our treasure. That's coming up very fast. Anchor and sail. There we go. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta send it. And who knows, maybe your actions too will be iconic in the balance of history. So yeah, so that spiral is coming from something called a Reaper chest somewhere on this boat, but there's also going to be other stuff on this boat. So I'm going to go ahead and get us turned to where we can harpoon some of this. And then center the wheel, and then we're going to go wreck diving. Meow. Meow says stuff. So yeah, the big thing we want is the chest, but there's also going to be other stuff in here too. The wreck of the Siren's Gale. Captain's chest. This is a barnacled captain's chest, which is nice. The hole in the ship notification, continually trying to save me from myself. Villainous bounty skull, that's a good one. Hole in my ship! There's a hole in my ship. Dear Lord save me, there's a hole in my ship. There's also apparently sirens, judging by the sound. Which is why I'm really glad I stole that other thing earlier. Because I don't want to deal with that nonsense. I feel like that could be a song. It's like that song, There's a Hole in My Bucket. Dear Liza, dear Liza. But instead there's just a hole. There's a hole in my bucket. Hey! Rude! Stop it. Stop moving. Get over here. Gotcha. Free gem. Thank you. Don't mind if I do. We're going to keep this around just in case. So this thing right here is called Trident of the Dark Tide, I think? Yeah, Trident of Dark Tides. This was something that got added when all the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff got added as kind of like a story thingy. But it's also extremely handy for fighting things underwater. Oh my goodness, this is a really good one. Ashen King's Chest. Definitely want this. And Wrathful King's Bounty Skull, also really good. Any of this King's loot is a new tier of loot that they've added. There's a hole in my vessel. That's perfect. There's a hole in my vessel. Dear Stephmo. Dear Stephmo. There's a hole in my vessel. It's very funny. Alright, get a little more air. Ignore the creepy music. Dear Aravis, dear Aravis. Because this game is broken, dear Robin, dear Robin. There's a hole in my vessel, Guppy Wumpkin, Guppy Wumpkin. Hey, look, another one. But yeah, you find these things all over the place now. Ooh, a message in a bottle. Now we're talking. Yes, Guppy, indeed you. You have the fun name to say. I would love to do this message in a bottle, but I'm getting to the end of the time I have allotted myself to stream. I'm going to stretch it a little bit today because I am having a lot of fun and I'm glad all of you are here. And also I want to get to a good spot. Creative silks, always good to have trade goods. Looks like there's another thing here too. Make sure this gets up here. Sometimes they get stuck to the hull. But yeah, how did that idea sound to everyone? I was thinking of splitting up stream time between doing some of like the story tall tales because they're really cool and exciting. And doing stuff like this, where I just kind of like wander around, get in fights, get treasure, raid people. What do you all think about that idea? I'm also gradually getting to the point where I can get a captaincy ship. It means we can name it, which is going to be delightful. Okay, we'll leave these here for a moment, and then I'm going to go start harpooning. Because once we get the big one, all bets are off. And it's going to be a mad dash to Reapers. Do whatever captures your attention at the moment. I think that's pretty fair. So, great idea. Let's put the ADD girl in charge of curating the content selection. Here for the pirate history. That is fair indeed. I don't know if Rose stayed or not to hear my comments about William Dampier. I feel like a William Dampier pirate RPG would be amazing. You just go around learning like different new biological facts about the world, or botanical facts, I guess technically. Strip out all the nasty stuff, or leave it. People need to like be aware, I think, of like the things our world is built on top of, you know. Learning pirate history, yeah. That could be cool. It also gives me a great excuse to read more books and watch more podcasts, which would be great. Because I love doing those things. I might need to reread The Pirate Republic and like talk about that. That would be pretty fun. I love talking about Nassau. Learning pirate history and pwning noobs, unless you are the noob. Getting pwned, yeah, there you go. Nassau. Yeah, so this is the good one. This is worth a lot of points and a lot of standing. Nassau. There we go. Ow! No, stop it! Don't jump scare me. Rude. I do not approve. No, leave me alone. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want the smoke. Do a streamer reaction quick. What's a streamer reaction? How does this work? I'm gonna hit you with my not sniper rifle. Whoa, chat, are you seeing this? Am I doing it right? I'm not built for underwater. Leave me be. Spare me. No, stop it. See, I already moved all my good sticks onto the boat, which puts me at a severe disadvantage, especially since I have the long rifle out. Go, ag, ar! Ag, ar, RuneScape reactions, cue them. Pog, whoa, yeah. Screaming pee. Thanks, Guppy. I'm so glad for your advice. Rude. Okay, so now that we've got this on the boat, our boat is marked. Everyone knows that we have this thing, and they're going to come try and murder us horribly in order to get it from us. So I'm going to save one of these up here by the boat to use in case we get boarded, because it's funny to me. Learn some funny Twitch emote names and then say them out loud to chat. That's the flavor of homework I don't think I would enjoy. Tell people, chat, this is so sad, or something. Monkus. Monkus? Monkus. So yeah, I'm going to stack these here so it'll be easier for me to harpoon later. Or wait, I don't need to do that because we can't harpoon things because our boat is a poor person boat. We don't have the special license what let us do the good things. Monkus? Monkus? Monkus. Monkus W. What? Monkus W what? Never mind. I give up. Alright, so we're marked. That's going to be fun. We need to go to Reapers, which is there. That's going to be where we're trying to go. So you can see we've got most of the Sea of Thieves between us and Reaper's hideout. There's like a third of it left there. And on that entire time, everyone over there is going to have a chance to get set up and intercept us. So this is where the fun begins. Southeast we go. Get with the times, Granny. Your age is showing. I am too old for this shit. That's not a function of being old. That's just a function of what all this shit is. Boomers are so twitched out. Interesting. I was not aware that someone can be twitched out. Just exposure to Twitch culture. Yeah, fair enough. This is part of the reason I know too many things about pirate history. Is like one of the few things I could convince my super churchy parents to let me read about was, you know, colonizing jerks. So I would read Mutiny on the HMS Bounty a lot as a kid. I read a lot of Treasure Island. I don't know. I feel like most pirate fiction is pretty brain rotty, just from a different era. So like a lot of pirate history, quote unquote, like pirate stories that we read about and stuff that's like based off of, comes from a book called A General History of the Pirates. So General History of the Pirates, I'm going to look this up on Wikipedia so that I don't forget, or I don't get the dates wrong, because I'm terrible with dates and I'm terrible with names. Yeah, General History of the Pirates. It was published in like 1724, so like 50 years before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Like a generation before that. And this book, the thing that's very weird about it is that some of the stuff in there is very accurate, or fairly accurate, and like has a verifiable history to it. Stuff that's like, chat, is this Wind Waker? Yeah, is this Wind Waker? Where's my ocarina? Yeah, so it's got some stuff in it that's literally just like copy pasted from the records of like the trials of these pirates, which that stuff is fairly accurate and easy to like verify. However, a bunch of it is literally just made up. They just wrote cool stuff and put it in there to like sell more copies of this goofy book. They also made a lot of woodcuts of pirate flags, which a lot of people think are actual pirate flags. They had magical conductor's baton, not an ocarina. I've never played the game. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get canceled before I even start. Exactly, not a real gamer. Fake gamer, e-girl gamer on the internet. Here's the other really fun thing. We're now going into the wind, so this is going to be really slow. But yeah, so this book, General History of the Pirates, it's got a bunch of woodcuts of pirate flags in it, and then like attributes them. Girls can't game. Apparently that got highlighted, which is very funny to me. I'm going to add it because it's very funny. Because I'm literally gaming right now. Also, there's those guys again from earlier. Gold hoarders with fancy sails. I should have seen that way before. Also, there's a hole on my ship. Dear Gumpy Wumpkins, Guppy Wumpkins. Misogyny in gaming is a skill issue. Exactly. Skill tissue. Skill tissue for people to cry into. Let's see if I can get a response here. Howdy, mate. How's it going? You chillin', you vibin', everything good? Chat says hello. Nothing. So much for that. See, this is why the captaincy ship is going to be so important. Chat, is this real? I feel like I'm being messed with at every corner now. Yeah, they're just going to go do whatever they're going to do. We're going to do whatever we're going to do. But this is why having a captaincy ship and like applying a name to it is so important. Because I feel like that's the closest we're going to get to any kind of a, like collective identity within this godforsaken video game. You are all the voices in my head, and we are all aboard this boat which do not have a name. But yeah, so general history of the pirates. It was not even written by the guy who he said he wrote it. So the name of the guy was actually like a, what do they call that? A pen name. Or at least it's suspected to be a pen name. It's not like verified pen name, but the guy who wrote it was allegedly named Captain Charles Johnson. There's several different people who, over the years, historians have tried to like ascribe demanding entertainment by messing with you. Exactly. Make the funny sounds, streamer. Dance monkey. I think there's a dance. There's a dance. I can dance. Dancing is good. I can dance. See? Dancing real good. Got the cool haircut. Got no clothes because I forgot to go shopping. We're gonna have to do a shopping episode. Yeah, Captain Charles Johnson is supposedly the author of History of the Pirates. Come here. Ah, I missed. Damn it. Oh, there's more. What's in here? Ooh, that'll be handy. Was a funny sound when shot the harpoon, yeah. Nah. You gotta make the noise, otherwise like your chances of hitting the thing are much lower. Yeah, like stuff like sailing terminology or even like order of events are just very wrong throughout the book. There are a bunch of woodcuts of pirate flags that there's no other historical reference for. Skeleton galleon over there. It's just a mess. But there's just enough in there that's actually like verifiable that for generations people have like taken the stories in there and ascribed value and correctness to them. So nowadays it's very hard to tell the difference. Literal class of middle schoolers, yeah, exactly, except I cannot do anything to punish you, nor do I have a desire to, so I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. And the door's also open. What was Steph's demand? I missed that. Make the funny sounds, yes, yes. It don't shoot good if you don't go warble garble. Yeah, exactly. You gotta go wow wow wow. Worst hostage exchange ever, yeah, Basically. I'm just worried we're gonna run into that Reaper too, which is probably gonna be like a Reaper 4 now or some nonsense. Let's see, are they around? Are they around? I don't see them. Normally if you fly a Reaper's mark, you show up on the map, which is really cool. It looks like they might have left, which would be advantageous to us being able to sell this. I do not have a hole in my ship. Stop insisting there's a hole in my ship. But yeah, so like the usual pirate flag, the skull and crossbones thingy that you see all the dang time. Why are you playing angry music at me? Is that boat going to try to kill me? That would be funny. But yeah, so that particular flag is often ascribed to Calico Jack Rackham, who has the coolest name. It's the best pirate name. You can't get better than Calico Jack Rackham. But it turns out the flag is not his. And as far as anyone can tell, it doesn't actually belong to anybody. Let's see here. There's a little bit of stuff there. Doesn't actually belong to anybody from like the contemporary of the era, and the earliest like documentable example of flag is an old black and white pirate movie called Captain Blood. Yeah, also it wasn't his name. His name wasn't Calico Jack Rackham. He had a really boring name. His name was like John Rackham or some nonsense because everybody was fucking named John. He was a terrible pirate who only sunk and dealt with like fishing boats. Didn't get very far and then like died an ignominious death until someone decided, hey, I can turn this guy into a star. And now, are they going to shoot me? If they shoot me, I'm going to be very sad. Don't do that. Don't do this. No, please. Oh god. Now there is a hole in my boat. Which is, oh no, there's a lot of holes. But that's like the story of pirate history. A hole in my ship. It's finally accurate. And they are shooting at me. Damn it. I've got a lot of treasure on board. I don't want to die. Don't do this to me. But yeah, so much of pirate history isn't a matter of like what actually happened in any capacity. It's just a matter of what sounded cool and people are like, yeah, that's neat, let's go with it. Oh, this is not good. Alright. No, we're not playing this game right now. I want you to go away and think about what you've done. There we go. That'll give them something to think about for a minute. While I try to figure out what the heck is going on. Now it's going to shoot me in the butt. Oh no. Alright, time to do some gamer moves. Nope, too far away. Dang it. Hole in your ship. There's a hole in my ship. There will never not be a hole in my ship. This galleon has made me very angry. And this chest is making me very worried. Yeah, so I love that we live in an era with like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? You gotta name your boat Hole in Your Ship when you can. Yeah. Gonna have to write that one down. Yeah, so what oh, snap. Nope, go away. That's a couple decent hits, I'll take that. Chat will remember. Chat always remembers. Here's the other really funny thing. Did they sink? Is that it? Did they get stuck? Are you dead? Did you died? No, they did not die. They just gave up. Taking on water, a piracy pun. Yes, general age of sail pun. This is not a smart thing. This is not a smart thing that I'm about to do. I have a very valuable chest on board that marks me for the entire server. There comes a moment in every pirate's life when you've got to hoist the bilge rat flag. And do some sketchy shit. Like go fight a galleon and a sloop. Hoisting death flags, yeah, basically. It is my favorite flag in this game. Yeah, I don't know what my point was. I guess my point is that, like, part of what appeals to me about pirate history is kind of the same thing that appeals to me about, like, cowboy history, like the Wild West. Not because it's accurate or because it's like a good thing, because there's a lot of terrible things that happen in these periods of history that like go on to define huge chunks of our modern society and what we believe and what we feel about it. What it does do is tell us a lot about the stories we tell each other and the values those things imply. And as you learn about these things, about these stories and also about the facts behind them. Strike your colors, your colors. Hey chat, watch this. Yeah, this is the hey chat, watch this flag. Alright, you bastard. Come over here, you wee beastie. Yeah, historiography. Yeah, not history, but historiography. There's still a lot of lessons we can learn. Like, both like, hey, this is kind of cool lessons, and also like, hey, we should definitely keep an eye out for how we think about this lessons. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and aim for their cannon line, which is going to be midships on the top deck. What that's going to do is kill a bunch of them, so that they can't shoot back at us while we're shooting at them. And then once we've gotten supremacy on that, we're going to go ahead and start aiming lower and start putting holes in the actual hull. There they go. I guess they'd already been damaged from running up against that reef. That was way easier than I thought it would be. Wait, was that? That was a Skelly Fleet boss. That means there's going to be a lot of treasure on that. Why? I guess that's what happened. There's probably someone else who came along and did a bunch of damage to it. Now I'm going to have even more treasure. What is going on here? Yes, so the thing about Skelly boats in this game, they work pretty much the same as player boats, but they can't bail out. I did set them on fire for a bit. That's the thing, yeah. Is this real, or is this just a fantasy? Here comes all the treasure. Cool. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my lord. This is a problem. While I'm harpooning all of these things in, this is a very big problem. I missed. No. Turn a little bit. Go sell, yeah, basically. But you remember, like, we got to go over to Reapers because we've sworn ourselves to the Reapers' bones. So I'm going to have to, like, sit in the middle of Reapers and sell all of this off one thing at a time. Because we're poor pirates who don't have a captaincy ship. Oh my goodness. What's this? Oh, another ammo pouch. That's fine. Oh my goodness. Alright. Missed. I'm glad you believe in me. That makes exactly one of us. Like, I have a feeling that I'm just gonna, like, get off the harpoon and turn around and there's gonna be that Reaper 4 just hanging out right behind me. Alright, last piece, maybe? He's got that sparkly out there. I'm gonna go see what that is. He's right behind me, isn't he? Yeah, exactly. Right behind you. Hello, Captain Aravis. Thank you for coming and bringing me all of the treasure. Appreciate it. And there's still a hole in my ship. That's great. Alright, let's see here. First things first, let's sort some of this out. Skeleton captain's chest, that's fine. Some barnacle gold, that's fine. I just want to see if there's anything in here that's like particularly good that I need to prioritize in my run-ins. Get this other chest here, treasure chest. Make sure we get the gold out of that. And what's this here? There's nothing else in there, so I can grab this and put this in there. Perfect. So it doesn't look like there's anything too particularly shiny, just a lot that's like generally shiny. Ashen key, that's good. That means I can unlock one of these. So yeah, this is the good stuff. This is stuff that's ritual skull, stuff that's needed for pretty good unlocks in terms of like some rare sales and things like that. But I'm not seeing anything in here that's like super rare. Storage chest could be useful. I'm gonna try to store some more cannonballs in there because I'm a little low on the good ones. Ritual skull, another one. Wow. If this were going longer, I could do like a 2 Fort of the Dams. Or no, I can't because I'm not Pirate Legend, so I can't. Oh no. Get some of this stored here. And this whole time I'm just sitting here with a big red like light on my butt. Ugh. Alright. Good enough. And there's one more ashen key that I can use for an unlock. That'll be good. Hole in your ship. There is still a hole in my ship. Somewhere, metaphysically, there's a hole in my ship. Oh man, we're right outside Reapers too. Alright, so I just gotta go southwest. Looks like Ghost Fleet's up, so that big green spiral. I don't need to go back to the main menu stream. We'll be over soon. I know! And then I have one of the bigger hauls I've had this entire week, and definitely the biggest one I've ever had on stream, so now I've got to run it in, for sure. Otherwise, why am I even here? Why am I even rambling about nonsense? What is life? What is Twitch? What are any of you doing here? Yeah, like I was saying before we got in that ridiculously absurd engagement, I'm going to tell you about the history of that place too, one of these streams. It's a really cool spot actually. Unmapped on the Sea of Thieves, so you can't actually use the map to get here unless you know the grid coordinates. Just to suffer, exactly. But yeah, so we come from an era in which like all of these woodcuts that were made in like a general history of the pirates showed pirates in the finery of the era. So you've got like tricorn hats and fancy jackets and all this stuff. And then when that starts, you know, getting into like the age of cinema, when we're starting to make movies about these things, you've got like Captain Hook, basically. You've got all these dudes sailing around the incredibly hot and humid Caribbean in velvet velour and golden brocade for some reason, which makes no kind of sense. But it's like the thing, right? And now we live in the era of like Pirates of the Caribbean, when apparently we've collectively decided, as you know, the tastemakers have dictated, that all of that velour and velvet and brocade is very silly and impractical and not at all gritty or realistic. So we're going to put all of our pirates in the humid and hot Caribbean in leather instead, which makes equally no sense. But we view these things as real. We view them as like believable and like reasonable things to, you know, to believe. Or at least, you know, to suspend belief for, which is not the same thing. I know, like, we all have different things that we want out of our entertainment, and that's perfectly fine as well. But like, we share a lot more similarities with the people and stories of the past than we would like to believe sometimes. Alright, time to sell the big one. Get this one out of the way first. Reaper's Hideout, baby. There's supposed to be a lot more Reaper stuff coming in the next big update here in a couple months. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, those doubloons there's 25 doubloons. Those are part of the reward, but the more important one is how much standing we're going to be getting from that here in just a second. And now we sell the loot. Then a little faster than running it on foot, because you can sprint on a rope, or you can't sprint on a foot, apparently, while carrying a chest. There we go, an extra little doubloon pouch, so a nice little pile of doubloons there. Ripstream for a minute there. Yeah.
I do as my father commands.
Welcome, true pirate. I trust you are still as free as the sea and fierce as the flame. See, that's kind of cool. It's still cheesy. Kind of cool. Members of this sanctum embrace the true calling of piracy without judgment, as free as the sea, as fierce as the flame. We'll have to talk to this guy more later. I did not mean to do that. I wanted to sell him the skull. Yeah, still cheesy, but cooler. Alright, let's get this Ashen King's chest. That's a big one. But yeah, that's one thing that I do enjoy about this game. It's like not like the most accurate. It doesn't have the deepest lore. It's not the most complicated or complex. What it does do is it kind of takes all of those different like pirate stories that people care about and tell each other, and it boils them down into a very thick stew. And it makes them fun. Like even when you're making a character, like in this game, like you don't really get like a traditional character creator. You get like a wheel of different pirates. And you can select some to save for the next spin, and you just spin the wheel over and over again. And like the characters you get, they aren't neat and prim and well put together. Like they've got crooked noses and bad teeth and stuff going on. You know, they've had problems. They've had challenges in their life. They're not Johnny Depp. And then over time, like, you make a character who's like cool and interesting, that you like, that looks neat, and has a cool ship. Another little ashen chest here. These ashen chests, these have a lot of commendations attached to them that are really useful. I think I talked about those earlier. But you can only access them after you've unlocked them, which you need an ashen key for. So some of these we have keys for, some we don't. I'm not going to bother holding on to the ones we don't have keys for today, just because it would take a while to hunt down keys specifically. We'll probably do that another day, because we're already getting towards overtime a little bit, more so than I wanted to be. I hope people don't mind. I know I don't. I'm having a good time.
Pledge your loyalty to the flame. Ha ha.
Ha ha. Silly. But yeah, like overall, like we were talking a little bit earlier, today about like how the game developers have sort of decided to balance convenience, convenience with accessibility. This is kind of part of the reason why. Like it used to be that whenever you needed to sell anything, you had to kind of do it this way, where you go and you hop off the boat, and, you know, move things one at a time. Which when you're in a port, oops. Oh no. There we go. When you're in a port is a little bit simpler because everything's just kind of there anyway. However, when you're in a situation like this, like it takes a minute. A lot of people regard like the best way to sell to Reapers directly is to have a harpoon rowboat. And then when you use the harpoon rowboat, you use that to load everything into, and then you drag it up onto the beach. And then load it from there so you don't have to go quite as far. Thankfully, this is only necessary until you get to the captaincy ships nowadays. It's like, I will agree that that balance change is probably for the best overall. It makes the game more playable. It's just a shame that we got the galleon sink like now instead of last week, because last week they took the most valuable chest in the game, the chest of fortune. It used to be in the boss battle galleon of a skeleton fleet. Used to be. But recently they moved it back to the forts of fortune, which we'll talk about and show some of those later on. Probably in the next stream on Tuesday, most likely. There's a really cool ship set that's tied to those chests of fortune as well. They're really neat. They're very pretty. They're so pretty. Like, I've never owned it. I've known a couple people who have. It's a lot of work to get to. It looks terribly impressive. But yeah, so Kat was talking a little bit earlier about Calico Jack Rackham specifically, and how his name wasn't even Jack. It was probably John. And the pirate flag that was sort of ascribed to his name wasn't even his flag at all. There's no evidence that it was. The other really funny thing about Calico Jack Rackham is that, like, in A General History of the Pirates, that book we were talking about before, published in the early 1700s. There we go. In that book, between two different editions of the book, we get two completely different backstories about the same man. Like within a fairly close proximity to his life and his trial and like all the stuff that he did. So this book that sort of like deeply shaped our modern understanding of what a pirate is and what a pirate stands for, couldn't even agree on one of its most iconic characters, like life story, like background, like very important details about where they came from and what they did. But no one cared. Like even historians didn't really care that much. Oh, thank you for the follow, Kat. I appreciate it. You also got to see my cute little new alert. I'm gonna be adding a few more of those as we go. But yeah, so what ends up happening though is you end up with like two different editions of like this major publication, and historians badly want to use this as like a reference, right? Because it's so neat and tidy and it has all the little details in it, and they can just kind of like copy paste it and go, aha, this is a story about pirates and we can tie it to this, that, and the other thing. What ends up happening, like even though there are these big contradictions between different editions of the book, the historians just pick which edition they want for particular details and then roll with it. And if they don't like how the other one works, they just ignore that one. They just cherry pick back and forth. There's a lot of very bad research, especially in like pop science circles, from like the 1800s onwards, of people just getting things wrong because they just choose what they want to hear and know what they want to know, and put it in a book and say I'm an authority on it. And part of that just does come down to like very poor records of the time period. There's not a whole lot, like We were talking a little bit earlier today about how there are quite a few like journals of sailors and people in various navies and like even like pirate occupations and stuff like that. Excuse me, I just had to get a drink there. This stuff exists, but like for the most part, when it comes to actual like stuff that you can cross-reference, you're gonna have wide inconsistencies, partially because of like how long it took for information to be spread from place to place, and also like how the different interested parties, like obviously nations aren't going to share important information on like their shipping manifests and their schedules with other nations, other empires that they're competing with in the Caribbean. That's not going to happen, not in a million years. So you don't, it's not until like later on, like 2 centuries later, when people actually want to start putting together the pieces of this puzzle, that we start realizing how hard it is to actually get an accurate picture of who did what, where, when, and why. Which, you know, history in a nutshell, I guess. Not even to mention, like, all the indigenous folks who were, like, deeply affected by all of the terrible things that these colonizing forces did in the area. Like, they never, for the most part, very, very rarely do we have any sort of account of any of these people or how they felt about the situation or the battles that they fought or the things that they believed in. In many cases, what records did exist were just actively erased and just not allowed to be put into stories. Which is how you get like modern films about piracy that never touch, that very rarely in any like serious fashion touch on the effects of colonization or like the prevalence and centrality of like slavery in the Caribbean. And when some survive, says Kat, it was accounts written about them, yes, about them through the lens of the colonizer specifically. Like these were people who were like, especially early on, in the age of sail, when you had the Spanish versus everyone else, the Catholic Spanish versus the Protestant everyone else, they were already looking for reasons to like demonize and vilify each other, which they did a lot. But like the one thing they could actually agree on amongst themselves was that all of these people living here are minding their own damn business. Those are the real bad guys. So the only some of the only like unifying accounts that we actually have on hand, specifically come. Oh, that's not good. Might be running short on time here. Specifically come from people with like a vested interest in lying their pants off about the people who had been there way before they got there. We might be running very short on time here. Because methinks I see a boat. They do seem to be anchored. Nope, they're not. They're turning. Interesting. Well, the good news is we got all the valuable stuff, I think, for the most part. We got the Reaper chest. We got all the shiny ashen chests. We got all of the we haven't talked about it much yet, but Madagascar used to be a notorious pirate haven before Nassau or any of the other places that were notorious for it later on, or even like Tortuga. Rip stream, it's back now. Thank you, Steph. It's probably getting a little rickety. Nassau, yeah. It's just going to be a recurring theme every time I do this. I'm never going to be able to pronounce Nassau correctly. But yeah, so Madagascar, used to be a massive pirate haven, Pirate Central, Pirates USA. Place where all the cool kids hung out. In fact, Skull and Bones tries to do it. I don't think they do it very well from what I've seen. They try to set stuff up in Nassau. Named after the House of Orange, Nassau. Yeah, Breaker was talking about that Tuesday a little bit. We had a Dutch person in the chat. Orange as in French and Nassau as in German. Ah. Ah. But Madagascar is remarkable because a lot of the indigenous population did manage to, I won't say like safely, but they did manage to integrate with a lot of the pirate and colonizer in general population and survive them. Like they managed to maintain some semblance of their own identity even after the pirates on Madagascar like killed each other off essentially. And so we do have some accounts that were written by people who learned how to speak the various languages of the colonizers and write them and like have some of their own thoughts like expressed, at least like indirectly and often only like in piecemeal. So there is some limited capacity there, which makes it an extremely interesting like case compared to a lot of other small cultures in the Caribbean who were literally just wiped off the face of the earth, just completely destroyed or irrevocably like altered and damaged. Which is part of what I dislike in this game when they start to like reference the ancients. We haven't had occasion to like see much of their stuff yet because we haven't gone to many of the islands. When they start like talking about them and like applying, it makes me very uncomfortable. Like it feels like we don't get enough context from their own perspective. There's a little bit, but we don't get a lot of context from their own perspective. It's mostly in like, what is engaging with these like ruins and relics do for me as a pirate? Where are the shinies I can steal and take back to my boat? Thank you. Bye. Speaking of shinies, I think we're almost done with this treasure haul. This has been very long. Yeah, you have a magic bank account. Exactly. Like, I would love to see a version of this game where, like, you could have, like, a pirate base of some kind and just stack up your treasure over time, kind of like they do in Payday 2. Where you get the vault, and like the more money you have, you go down in there and you just see the pile of money grow. I feel like if you're going to do a pirate game, like that's a better way to do it. Like number go up is definitely cleaner and easier, but it's not as cool. And there's still a hole in my ship. But yeah, I'm probably starting next week. I've been streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to noon Pacific. And I'm probably going to be splitting time up between Tall Tales and like more of this kind of stuff, like sailing around, checking out other boats, fighting, raiding, PvP/PvE kind of things. I think we'll probably start off with the Seabound Soul, I think, is the first Tall Tale. We'll probably go through them in something as, like resembling correct story order, more or less, because there is a correct story order to it. And that will do a little bit more to sort of lay out the lore of the game, and also just like some really cool moments and some great music. It's pretty fun. And Steph says, except for when people who play more than everyone else just finds and takes everything. Unless you mean like private instance vault. Yeah, like private instance vault is what I mean, not like Rust where you've got like a physical vault that you have to like protect and then someone breaks in and steals it. I think like an instance like pirate treehouse would be cool. Steph says PvP is the most interesting thing to watch. Pirate history is the most interesting thing to listen to and engage with. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. Let's see. Do I still have? I think I lost. Yeah, when I sunk, I lost that treasure map. And Steph says, I think you have a good mix of both. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that might be what I stick with then. We'll see. I might do a tall tale just for my own enjoyment. Alright, well. Who are we going to raid? That's a good question. I have a couple people in mind today. I need to look and see if either of them are still streaming. I imagine they both still are. In fact, before I go doing that, let me see who else is up. Yeah, so the person I was thinking of raiding today, her name is Britty Bear. And she has a really cute channel. She has the cutest ships, and she recently put some neat videos up on YouTube of her tucking, like hiding on the ships of like the cutest little like newbie pirates. She seems to have a really good vibe. I don't know her super well, but from what I've seen of her stuff so far, she's just bringing like really good energy. She's a great PvPer. She's been a lot of fun to watch, and I think she's going to be very enjoyable. So that is who I'm going to send y'all to here in a couple minutes, because I think that is the last of the treasure. As the sun rises, appropriately enough. Might as well strike the colors before we go. So yeah, thank y'all for coming and hanging out with me today. Like I said before, I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to noonish Pacific time. You are welcome to come hang out. We'll talk more about pirate history stuff. We'll do some reading and some adjusting to all of my interface stuff before then. Make it better, make it prettier, make it stronger. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. I'm going to try and figure out how to do this raid thing here real quick. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and send you over to Britty Bear. Oh, it's saying unable to raid at this time. Oh, that's a shame. 1 second, let me see if I can figure this out. They might have raid requirements set up. Yeah, it's giving me an error. Alright, well, I guess in that case, I'm going to go ahead and hunt around real quick and see if I can find somebody else.
Here's a text to dig out.
So many people on today. Just poking around. There's all kinds of interesting folks. Yeah, I'll have to get more people around and figure out what the streamers can set a minimum to accept, but it also maybe your account is too new. Yeah, that's possible. Now this is now you can raid with a party of 1. Could be minimum viewers. I'll have to look and see. I can probably ask her later on. Ask her later on and try and figure it out. So it's all good. I'm just going to go ahead and do my outro, and we'll try reading someone next week. So thanks for coming and hanging out, everybody. I hope you had a good time. And I will see you on the flip side. Someone random? Maybe. Yeah, let me go poke around and see if I can find somebody. Hang in there for a second. I think I found someone real quick. Alright, we're gonna try something.
Free premium Wi-Fi and free expert installation.
Yeah. I stick with it. I think okay. I think that's.
Alright, let's see if we can do this. I think I found somebody. Where is this? I need my stream manager. I'm sorry, y'all. I know you can't see this. It's all... There we go. Bango. Alright, I'm going to send you to Lightbox Gnome, who I have no idea who they are or what they got going on, but they seem to be doing a fishing stream. So bless their hearts, they're sitting there fishing endlessly for hours on end, so let's send them all the help we can. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time. Later. Nope. Dang, unable to raid at this time either. It's not letting me raid. Let's see if I do a refresh. Just can't raid. I'll have to look into that. Alright. Thanks for coming and hanging out, y'all. I'm going to figure this out before next time. We'll see you later on.